Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optics Podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and I am joined by a friend of the show today, Leo from Geekly Goods. And today we're going to be giving our spoiler-free thoughts and insights on DC's The Flash. It's finally here. 100%. It's here. Well, at least we were able to see it early. So thank you to Warner Brothers and David Zaslav himself for allowing us to see this a little bit early. For all of our amazing listeners out there. Again, this is spoiler free. No spoilers will be given in this movie. There's simply too much to talk about, and we want people to kind of, form their own opinion. Go watch the movie when it hits theaters on June 16th. I believe that's the date. Yeah, June 16th. But before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at Film Optics, or you can email us at filmoptics@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Leo, it's been a while. I feel like you haven't been on in a while, but we've all been super busy playing Tears of the Kingdom and going to all of these screenings. Well, how have you been? What's going on in your life? And how's your weekend been treating you?
I've been good, man. Weekend's good so far. Yeah, lately there have been a lot of screenings. There was a lot this week. Let's see. I saw Elemental on Thursday, and then I saw Joyride on Wednesday.
Oh.
And Monday I saw Transformers. So I've had like a packed week with like 3 very different movies. And each one was very enjoyable to very good. I would consider a few, at least Joyride as one of my favorite of the year so far.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
It was very funny. I love the acting and the chemistry between the actresses, but I really enjoyed that. Let's see. I've been trying to kind of catch up with some manga lately. Like I finally caught up with My Hero Academia manga. And then trying to turn on Tears of the Kingdom whenever I can, man. There's been so many movies and videos to do. I'm like, man, and work has been super busy lately. So I've been getting more responsibilities. And so I've just been kind of busy. But at the same time, it's been a pleasure watching this. Flash, I saw a couple of weeks ago. I had the pleasure of seeing it about a month ago now here.
Yeah, you're special. We get it. I'm just joking.
Nah, they were doing like a fan screening mad early.
Wow.
Mad early. And I was like, all right, well, let me go check this out. So I seen it like mid-May.
Oh, yeah, you did see it earlier. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I caught it, and I had to be quiet for a while. But now that the embargo's up, we can talk. Before getting into too much, I think I really like this. I left and I felt top 3 DCEU energy. I think when I first left, I was like, number 1. But the more I could think and process, I'm like top 3 for me at least. But yeah, I mean, it's been good lately, bro. How about yourself?
It's been good. I mean, it's just been busy like you. I had 3 screenings this past week. I saw The Flash on Monday, and I saw Transformers on No, I didn't see The Flash on Monday. Sorry. I saw The Flash on Tuesday, and then I saw Transformers on Wednesday, Rise of the Beast, and then I saw Elemental on Thursday, which I absolutely adored.
Yeah, that was so adorable, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Really like that one.
I was like, wow, it took me by storm. But outside of that, just like you, just playing some Tears of the Kingdom when I can. It's CMA Fest here this weekend in Nashville, so that's always a lot of fun. Last weekend was Nashville or Franklin, Tennessee's Pride weekend. I went there, supported some friends who were performing. And the weekend before that, I went to a Renaissance fair. First time ever. I was like, wow, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I didn't dress up or anything, but outside
It's
of that,
still fun to be in the environment, bro.
Oh, it was amazing. It was actually a dry Renaissance fair, which I kind of appreciated because it was really hot outside and I didn't really feel like, indulging in all of that while the heat was, hitting like 85, 90. So I was like, it might just be better to, drink some water throughout the day. But outside of that, I've been trying to catch up. I've been trying to catch up on my TV shows. I miss my shows so much. I have so much to catch up on. I finished Ted Lasso, of course. God, I need to finish Love and Death. I got to finish that up. I have to finish Superman and Lois. I only got the first episode in. What Mike had told me, it was very good.
Wasn't it good?
It was good. It was good. This is Cobra Kai all over again. My God, I was.
If me and Mike both like something, you'll probably like it too.
That's true. That's very true. I was like, I will not watch Cobra Kai. I refuse. And now I'm like, yeah, I'm all caught up. I'm ready for that sixth and final season.
Yeah, 100%. You're hooked now.
Man, that show is just so wild. But outside of that, yeah, just work and covering as much movies as we can, and just trying to, try out some new things here for the podcast within the coming up months, hopefully. And yeah, just kind of living life, slow motion is better than no motion, I always say. So
yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah.
Sounds 100. Like things have been good.
Yeah. Same for you on your end. I'm just, trying to get through that Tears of the Kingdom. It's like, I'm on the last temple. I'm on the lightning temple.
And I've finally been getting outside and walking more. And
that too.
Getting back in the gym, working out. I've been trying to get and cook and stuff. Been trying to get back on track with my health. So
yeah,
that's also taking a little bit of time. Things just kind of take your time up.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's, it's all about the balance. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's just better on those 1 to 2 screening.
I know there's so much, and I have Indiana Jones coming up this week. So do you.
I got Indiana, and then I got The Flash again on Tuesday.
I'm gonna go see The Flash again as well. Yeah,
and then I feel like there's one more next week that I'm just like, oh man.
He's like, think there's one more. Stop.
Well, okay. Oh, you know what? So I haven't been sent it yet, but possibly Extraction 2. And also
get
possibly
that out of here. I don't want it. Devin wants to do that.
I can't wait for that. Also, Black Mirror season 6 is about to drop.
I've even started season 1. I gotta watch that.
Oh man, it's so good, man. So okay, people complain about the Netflix seasons, and they're not as good as the non-Netflix seasons, but it's still a great show with great episodes.
Oh, there's non-Netflix seasons.
Yeah, and every episode's a different story.
Okay.
So yeah.
That doesn't sound bad at all.
Anthology, sci-fi anthology series. Everyone's an original plot. Okay. I would not suggest starting at episode 1.
Oh.
Just because it's kind of like a crazy one out of all of them. It's like a really odd one. I think a good one for you to start will be the one featuring Bryce Dallas Howard.
Oh, that's all you had to say.
Yeah, man, that's a good episode. And it kind of listen, we ain't going to Jurassic World for the damn dinosaurs.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I definitely will check it out. I need to watch Succession. I need to watch Yellow Jackets. I need to watch Barry. I need to watch season 2 of Shadow and Bone. I have so much TV to catch up on. It's crazy.
Shadow and insane. Bone. Didn't even start the first season.
I'm telling you, man, you got to watch it. The first episode's a bit iffy, but like if you can get past the first episode, you're golden. It gets really, really good.
Yeah, so that's where I got through the first episode. I was like, well, I'll come back later, and I never came back. Never came back.
Fair enough. So to get back on track for all of our wonderful listeners, as much, me and Leo we can honestly do an entire podcast about just what we've been watching and whatnot. But you guys are here to listen about our spoiler-free thoughts about The Flash. So if you are new here, before we get into it, we're just going to go into our spoiler-free thoughts, like we said before. Then we're going to get to our final thoughts and our ratings, and then we'll get into our closing segments all together and, kind of just talk about where we think this movie might be going, as obviously spoiler free as possible. But without further delay, we'll be right back after this introduction to The Flash.
Tell me something. You can go anywhere. Another timeline. Another universe. So why do you want to stay and fight to save this one?
Because this is the world where my mom lives. I'm not gonna lose her again. Time has a pattern that it can't help reliving. Different people, different worlds, drawn to each other like magnets.
And we are back. You just heard a little snippet from the trailer for The Flash, directed by Andy Muschietti. I think I'm pronouncing his last name right, but apparently he directed It Chapter 2, I believe. And
and It Chapter 1.
I like the first one. I never seen the second one yet. I was told not to. But the writer for The Flash includes Christina Hodson and stars Sasha Cale, Ben Affleck, Ezra Miller, and many, many more. And the synopsis is as follows. Barry Allen uses his super speed to change the past, but his attempt to save his family creates a world without superheroes, kind of. Forcing him to race for his life in order to save the future. And also another writing credit on this is Jabi Harold. I do apologize for not mentioning that earlier. DC, pay your writers. That's all I got to say. So outside of that, let's get into our spoiler-free thoughts. I'm going to pass it over to Leo so he can give his thoughts on the film.
So The Flash, walking out initially, I will admit, and I say this not to condone the actions of Ezra Miller. I just want to put that out there that I'm not condoning what they've done, but I did leave the film really loving it. Like, I will admit that, like, on that first viewing, I really walked out and was like, wow, that was really good. And I got to thinking about it, and I did think of some of the missteps and some of the things that maybe I would have changed up. And I did not think it was as perfect that they're giving it a little thought. But I honestly feel like I could put it in maybe the top 3. Like, I'm honestly thinking of redoing my DCEU ranking and putting the Suicide Squad still number 1. And then I think I might put that Wonder Woman at number 2, man. That movie was actually really phenomenal.
Wait, the first Wonder Woman.
The first one.
Okay.
Not 84. No, sir. But the first Wonder Woman, I mean, it just was groundbreaking in cinema. I mean, great for women superheroes, female superheroes. It was just awesome, man. I mean, it was a great movie. And I thought Gal was at her best in that film, obviously. But I really could possibly put this at number 3 behind those two. I really did like the running, even though it was kind of cheesy, but I do like that the film plays on that. And I did like some of the CG. Now, I'm not going to say I enjoyed some of the scenes that are fully CG. Some of the stuff is very, very bad. But there are some scenes that are super fun, like when he's running across to get from his city to another.
Yeah.
Love that scene. I was like, okay, this is cool. This feels transcendent almost. Like it feels like a superpower. I really like that. I really liked the Flashpoint story, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought that they really did a decent job of adapting it. There's some issues here, but I guess let's go ahead and rip off this Band-Aid and get all the way over to Michael Keaton's Batman. Personally, I thought it was great. I thought it felt like he had never removed the cowl. he felt comfortable in it. I really liked how they used his Batman's fighting style and Ben's, because you could tell Ben has the motorcycle, obviously, and just has like a more physical, up close approach as opposed to Keaton's Batman, where he uses like technology to really assist him and stuff. He uses the grappling hook a lot.
Yeah.
A little more tactical. And I like that they really adapted that in this version of Batman. Like, I thought that it felt like it was straight out of the 90s or the 80s film, the 89 film.
Yeah.
I was like, this is great. Like, I really liked that version of Batman. I thought he was awesome. I thought Keaton really played the role well. Yeah, I mean, he uses the "let's get nuts" line. Of course, he's got to do the little flashback moments and things like that. But I liked him, man. And my theater actually went crazy when he said that.
Same.
Like, my theater went nuts. They're like clapping, cheering. And then, okay, so Sasha Kaye as Supergirl.
Oh, I pronounced her last name right. I'm sorry. I said Sasha Kale. I
Oh, no problem. But she was awesome as Supergirl. I thought she had so much presence, great expressions. She felt stoic in the end. The problem is there's not enough screen time for that character, and I'm worried that the role will be recasted in James Gunn's upcoming DCU. I want her to get another chance, and I'm just like, I feel like it's gonna be Henry all over again. We get a dope Supergirl, and then we have to shift gears. I really hope they bring her back. I thought that she had the mannerisms down. I thought that she was just like super cool and really just a stoic Supergirl type character, like especially with the way they portray her at first. I was like, that to me feels very Kara.
Right.
So I like that. I like Zod being back, but there's one issue I have is that, I mean, the villain, I think repeating Zod, okay, that's one thing, but there's kind of like a last minute villain, and I won't spoil, obviously, but it just was shoehorned in a little too late, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, I was like, we're doing this a little too late, and I'm thinking to myself, I know we're a good 2 hours into this.
Yeah.
Like, where I was sitting, I was like, I know we're like 2 hours in, so it's a little late to be pulling this stunt so late in the movie. But it was a good idea. It just needed a lot more screen time. And so while The Flash has like some good CG, most of it's bad. I'm going to be real. Most of it did not look believable.
Right.
There are some scenes entirely that just look horrid.
For a film that was supposed to come out like years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And for a film that had a high budget like that, I mean, maybe just don't attempt it if the budget is so bad.
Yeah.
It looks like that. So a little bit of a jarring effect to that. And obviously won't say nothing about the cameo. Or I loved the cameo.
Yeah.
And I loved all the things surrounding that. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I love that.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I love that. I know people didn't like it. They thought it was kind of hollow, whatever. I loved it.
Yeah, my thoughts. I think you touched on a lot of great points, and I don't think I can live up to your thoughts of the movie because
I'm so sorry. I just went on a full
fine.
tangent.
No, you are totally fine. Like, this is why we're here, for us to tell the people, in our Lord, our President Zaslav, who's probably listening. Just kidding. Making sure that we're on the straight and narrow. But no, I think that's a really great insight. And I had tweeted out my initial reaction saying that The Flash is unexpectedly hilarious. And it's a movie that took a cue out of James Gunn's playbook, because I did not expect The Flash to be that funny. Sasha Kaye and Michael Keaton, I think they both nailed it as Supergirl and Batman. The let's get nuts. It's there. Like, you have to put it in there. But because it worked for me. I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of attachment to Michael Keaton as Batman. It really is like Christian Bale for me and like the 90s Batman. altogether. But, he came back, he had a good time. And honestly, that's all that matters to me, is that, Michael Keaton was having a good time on screen. The CGI had its moments. There was a lot of noticeable scenes where, we see this in the trailer where, Barry does go back in time. He runs into his past self. And there's a lot of noticeable scenes where they're talking where it's like, especially one scene where it's like, that does not look right. And I'm like, it just begged the question, like, why did we have to wait so late to see this movie? Like they kept it in like the Warner Brothers vault. And it's like, okay, well, we've been hearing nothing but great things about it. And it's like, oh, well, it must be good. Then it's like, for me, I enjoyed it. I don't know. It's in my top 5 for DC. I don't know if it's like my favorite. Someone had tweeted saying it was like as good as The Dark Knight. And I was like, what? Anyway, the pacing for the movie, this movie runtime is around 2 hours and 20 minutes. So it's around the same for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which had around the same runtime. But the pacing of this movie made it feel longer for The Flash. For Spider-Verse, or Across the Spider-Verse, it was wonderfully paced. I did not feel the runtime at all. But I guess I was waiting to see Sasha as Supergirl like the entire time, because that was one of the main reasons outside of seeing it from Michael Keaton. And I do agree with you, Leo. She does not have a lot of screen time, and I was kind of bummed out by that because I thought she had, obviously Barry Allen, Ezra Miller playing the Flash has a prominent role, but I wanted to see, a little bit more of Supergirl. And I think, much like you, Leo, I hope that she gets another shot at this, because everything that's happened with Ezra in the press, it's kind of tainted the opportunity for Michael Keaton and for Sasha Kaye to have their moments in the sun, where this is Sasha's like her first like big break. Like, you're playing Supergirl, that's awesome, but I still feel like this is one of the better DC films altogether. I think I have it placed at like number 5 on my letterbox, like for ranking. The Suicide Squad being number 1. Shockingly, Man of Steel being number 2. Again, I'm not a big Superman fan, but I really do like that movie. Shazam 1 being number 3. Zack Snyder's Justice League is actually number 4, and then Wonder Woman. And then the Flash. I'm sorry. No, the Flash is number 6 right now. Man of Steel
in the top 3?
I do. Well,
okay, cool.
I was surprised. I was very surprised, because I was like, last time I did this, I think it was around when the Suicide Squad came out. I really do like that movie. I know when it comes to, for Superman fans, not a fan favorite.
Oh, we're talking about Man of Steel. My fault.
Yeah. Oh, wait, what you thought I was talking about? Which one? Shazam?
The Suicide. Yeah, I thought when you were
no.
I was like, yeah, I love that too.
No, the Suicide Squad, number 1 is.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. The other Suicide Squad is at the very bottom.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. But no, I watched this movie, and then it prompted me to watch the Flashpoint Paradox animated film, which I did the day after. And I was like, yeah, obviously I prefer the animated, but when we're talking about, this movie, The Flash, I think Ezra did a phenomenal job, regardless of how much they have been in the press. It was very funny. And I was like, okay, I can see why they don't want to let him go, but probably should. We're not going to get down that rabbit hole today, but we're just going to talk about the movie overall. There's a lot of cameos, obviously, this being a Elseworld story when it comes to, the Flash going back in time, dealing with the multiverse. You get a lot of fun little surprises, but the CGI itself really just kind of took me out of it. Much like you, when you were saying how they're kind of making fun of how the Flash runs. I thought that was actually pretty hilarious. But even the
Yeah.
opening to this movie was like, it really set the tone, at least I would say maybe 60-40, like 40% of the tone was set. Because it is a very serious and emotional film when it comes to the Flash trying to, save his mother from death.
very.
But I do agree when it came to, Zod's there and this other timeline thing. And then we get another villain. And I thought it was someone else, but it's not. So it was fine. Like, I wasn't like bonkers, like, oh my gosh, this is like the best thing ever. Cause I thought about that going in thinking, yeah, well, maybe there's a reason why Warner Brothers hasn't released this. And then we get it. And I think this movie is going to have a lot of, I think the audience score for this is going to skyrocket because there is a lot of fan service in this movie. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But when it comes to the fan service, they don't necessarily serve a purpose to the story. If that they do,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not like with Across the Spider-Verse. And I hate trying to, compare the two. I mean, they're not really similar. They both deal with multiversal threats, but there's something about Spider-Verse that does it very well, and it doesn't feel like in your face, like, oh,
it plays to the story very well.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah. And I don't feel like a lot of the cameos play to the story very well with the Flash. As much it's cool as it was to see, I was like, oh, like that's cool. And then like it doesn't, it's kind of just there, but I don't hate it. I'm lukewarm on it, really, but it has nothing to do with everything that Ezra's been a part of. It's literally just the movie itself, but this is definitely not going to be the last time that we that I think we're going to get a sequel for sure.
Yeah,
I think so, because this movie did not end the way that I thought it was going to at all.
True. And I will say this though, if it doesn't do well at the box office, I don't know about that.
I'm just like, you guys shelved Batgirl for this?
Yeah, I'm salty about Batgirl.
I'm very salty about that. And Scooby-Doo Holiday Haunt. Mind you, that was another movie that was 90% done.
Yeah, you're upset about that one.
I'm heartbroken. I just want more Scooby-Doo in my life. I don't know. But did you have any other spoiler-free thoughts you wanted to get into before we get into our final thoughts and our ratings?
That ending, mixed feelings.
Really?
Like I had mixed feelings about the ending because I just think really, I don't know.
I would ask you a question, but I don't want to give it away. So I'll do it off air.
All right, for sure. Yeah, but I will. The Flash, even with its faults, I still thought it was one of DC's better movies. And I think we can all agree with that it was at least a better than some of its previous few.
Mm-hmm.
Black Adam.
Who?
Heavily. Black Adam.
Who?
I'm dead. I mean, that Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie.
That one.
It just was like, yeah, we've had a couple of like not so good ones in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Even with Shazam 2 and then Black Adam, yeah, not a good 1-2 combo. A lot of people were at least very, very excited for the second Shazam movie, but I think this is definitely an improvement from both of those films. I think this is going to be way more well received. And I was like, how is a Flash movie funnier than this Fury of the Gods for Shazam? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. That makes no sense whatsoever.
But my gosh, is this movie funny? It is, yeah. Especially like the first two acts. Hilariously funny. Did you get a chance to watch Flashpoint before and or after watching?
I've watched it before. I didn't watch it before this time, but I've watched the animated movie. Very good. But yeah, like it is pretty funny. I do like it. I mean, I liked it, man. I will say, save a few scenes. The 2 Ezra thing did work for me.
Mhm.
Save a few scenes. There were a few where I was like, okay, that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
But
it was just
for
off
the
of
most
it.
part, yeah, it was just a little off. Sometimes it kind of looked uncanny valley-ish. But then for the
Yeah.
most part, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure. But yeah, let's get into our final thoughts and ratings. I'll pass it back over to Leo. If there's any other final thoughts you had, and give your rating. It's going to be out of 100. We're going to do some math today. It's going to be very, very exciting.
Oh man. Okay. A little bit of math here.
But yeah.
Okay. So I think I would probably go like 84 out of 100. I really enjoyed this. I thought it had some good action and good visuals, some bad CG though. I think the emotional story with Barry and his mother was done very well, in my opinion. I did love Sasha Kaye as Supergirl. Want to see her back. Keaton was great coming back as Batman. Like, honestly, this was all I could ever ask for, at least being this good to me.
Mhm.
And walking out feeling like it was awesome and like I loved it was a great feeling for a DC movie again. It had been since the Suicide Squad. So what's that, 3 movies before this one?
I think, yeah. Was that the last DC movie that come out before Black Adam? I think it was.
I think so.
Yeah, because that came out 2020. Yeah, so that was the last one.
Yep.
I don't know what happened.
It's been a while. For real. They slid down here, but if the Suicide Squad tells us anything, it at least tells us that James Gunn's DC future might be a good one, man.
Yeah, I mean, we have to see where, Ezra Miller plays into, if he plays a part in that or not. I really don't know, but we kind of just have to wait and see because, it's a soft reboot. I consider this more of a soft reboot than like a complete, overhaul, because there's a lot of characters that seem unclear, especially with Ezra Miller playing the Flash, or I would even say for Shazam for Zachary Levi, or even Wonder Woman, or anyone else. I don't really know, but this movie definitely feels, at least for my final thoughts really quick, it definitely feels like the end of the Snyderverse, like wrapping up, because that's like as much as I can possibly say. But for me, for my score, I'm gonna give it just a solid 75 out of 100. Like I said, I think it's a good movie. Definitely gonna go see it again because I feel like I need a second viewing, and I kind of just want to laugh again because, gosh, is it not funny? It's the opening scene. I was like, this is wow.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a good one. Like,
it's a funny one.
Yeah, like when I saw it, it was it was a fan screening, but they're like, oh, let's invite press too. And I brought me and my friend Parker with me, and the place was packed. People loved it. They cheered during a lot of the moments. A lot of cameo appearances, like we said, but unfortunately, they don't necessarily serve the story in a specific way. But we have an 84 out of 100 from Leo and a 75 out of 100 from myself. So we're going to take the median of both of those scores, and that's going to be the official rating for this episode for the Film Optics podcast. So that's going to be a 79.5. It's going to be the median score. So yeah, I guess you can call that like our Rotten Tomato score.
That works.
I've always thought, you have the critic side, and then you have the audience side when it comes to the scores. And it's like, okay, well, what's the median? Because I feel like that's a more accurate score between the two, because one may be, completely off the rails to the right. And then, the critics may be completely not feeling it. And it's like, well, what's the general consensus of, a movie? And I was like, oh, let's just use the median score here. So yeah, a 79.5 as the overall podcast score from both of our two scores here for The Flash spoiler-free review. And that pretty much wraps up our review section here on The Flash. I'd like to thank Leo so much for coming on. And also, Leo, let everyone know where they can find you, where they can find your content, all of your movies, your TV reviews, your discussions, and what's coming up on your channel.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Christian. It's always a pleasure talking with you, man. And it was great talking The Flash with you. So I really appreciate that. But you guys can find me over on YouTube. Head on over to YouTube, guys. Type in Geekly Goods. You'll see a logo with 2 G's. That's me. Come on over. Let's talk some geek, y'all. Listen, there's some good stuff coming up. We've got Indiana Jones next week, so a review for that will be going out. I'm also going to be watching the Raiders of the Lost Ark the first time in a while.
Same.
Video on that.
Yeah.
I'll be doing a video on that. And then I've also got one other video in the works. It is somebody basically made a bootleg version of the Little Mermaid animated. It's this weird studio, man.
Oh, the one with the turtle.
Yeah.
I saw
with the turtle
that
on the poster.
Yeah, turtles on the poster.
Yeah, it looks super bootleg. And you know what? I'm about to do a video on that too.
I can't wait to watch that one.
But everywhere else, you can find me at Geekly Goods.
So, to summarize what Leo said, hit him up with the HBO special. That's the Help a Brother Out special. 100%. Follow Leo. He's a great content creator. He's an amazing critic. He does a lot of great stuff over on his channel. And I can't wait for that knockoff Little Mermaid. I totally forgot about that because someone posted it. They're like, oh my gosh, this looks better than the live action Disney version. And I was like, why did they just combine Little Mermaid and Finding Nemo together? Because that doesn't make any sense. With a little
bit of what I saw one clip looked like Brave. One of them was running with a sword, bro. I was like, what?
Now I need to see this. I need to watch this movie, like Tall Girl 1 and Tall Girl 2. I'm going to watch it and just have a blast with it all together. But seriously, thank you so much for coming on, Leo. It's always a blast talking to you, like you said. And again, everyone, go ahead and follow Leo on Twitter. Subscribe to his YouTube channel for all of his in-depth analysis and discussion videos. And with all that said, that concludes today's episode. If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe to our podcast, on your preferred podcast platform of choice. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Film Optics. That is Optics with an X. And as always, don't forget to share an episode with a fellow movie lover in need, whether it's your mother, your brother, or your significant other. Make sure to spread the love for the Film Optics podcast wherever you go. So now let's take a sneak peek of what's coming up next on the show. For our new releases that are out right now that you can listen to. You can listen to our Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse spoiler-free review, as well as our Ted Lasso Season 3 review and our The Little Mermaid remake review as well. All three of those are spoiler free, so you guys can definitely dig into that. For upcoming releases, we're going to be covering Transformers Rise of the Beasts, as well as Pixar's latest film Elemental, which is very good, and as well as Indiana Jones The Dial of Destiny. And I believe we might do a spoiler review for The Flash. I really wanted to do one for Across the Spider-Verse, but time just did not allow it, and we just had to do a spoiler review. Since Devin hasn't seen it yet, I think we're going to do a spoiler cast or a spoiler review for The Flash within the next week, probably the week after it drops. It really just depends. There's just so much coming out, and it's a lot.
Much.
It's crazy, man. And again, make sure to follow Leo on Twitter and on YouTube. And as always, to all of our listeners, thank you for listening. If you enjoy this show, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram for the latest updates to stay in the know. I'm Christian, and that was Leo signing off, and we'll catch you all next time.